Alrighty. So I guess we'll just introduce ourselves first. My name's Rahul. I'm a 11th grader at West Windsor Plainsboro High School South. Well, all three of us together, we co-founded Hospified, obviously. But outside of Hospified, I also run a nonprofit called the Vessel Leadership Initiative, which aims to instill leadership qualities in youth in our communities. We partner with like 5 schools from New Jersey to teach them leadership programs with the hope that they'll get involved with the politics in the future.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my name
Nice
is
to
Matthew.
meet you. Hi, Matthew. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So yeah, I'm also pretty public policy oriented, I guess. So I do like student government. I'm part of my debate and Model UN team. And yeah, I'm just really interested in like how public policy affects like the way our government works and that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Wow. Nice to meet you too, Matthew.
Hey, I'm Sambit, and I'm a senior at High School South. And I'm more on the CS side, so I do a lot of CS-oriented stuff. I actually run a nonprofit outside of school, which helps teach like underprivileged kids computer science. But I also have this kind of passion for public policy, which is how I met Ruhu and Matt at MUN.
Well, that's pretty amazing. It is great to meet all three of you. Talk to me about your app first, and then we're going to talk about how to get so engrossed and involved and interested in public policy at this stage in your lives, and how do we help that to grow? Because you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
Try to help me understand your app.
All right. So I guess
why you thought of it, how you thought of it, and what it does.
I mean, with every time we talk about the app, we always start with a cheesy quote, and for me, that's former President Barack Obama once said, "In America, healthcare is not a privilege for a few, but a right for everybody." And for us, we realize that dream is still not a reality today. Sherry Young received a minor foot injury for which she needed surgery urgently. Under the impression that the cost was $200, she paid over $15,000 in medical bills. Ren Verdens got his gender confirmation surgery and received his bill, which totaled over $92,000, despite being emphatically told by a surgeon that his bill wouldn't total more than $25,000. And for these two patients, they couldn't feel like they were healed. They could only feel that a broken, corrupt system had failed them once again.
And like the biggest reality that I think we kind of realized and we saw was that their story really isn't unique because America spends 2 times more than the average OECD country on healthcare. And we realized how it's almost impossible for an American to find the price of a procedure at a hospital, and that online estimates vary dramatically. And we realized that, in fact, Americans can inquire about the price of a procedure, and a hospital has the ability to withhold the answer. And we believe it's this lack of transparency that enables hospitals to raise prices way beyond the actual worth of procedures. Take, for example, the average cost of an MRI. One of the most common procedures in the world in America is $1,100, while it's only $200 in Australia. And this especially hurts people of color, as POC already on average receive subpar service at medical institutions. Due to factors such as racial biases in underserved communities, this has been reflected in the medical issues such as high mortality rates for COVID-19 in people of color communities. And these sky-high costs just further exacerbate these problems.
So to tackle these inequalities and these problems, the three of us came together with a solution, and that solution is obviously Hospified. So Hospified is a web-based crowdsourced application that aims to bring transparency to healthcare. We publicize the price and quality of operations at hospitals around America through users willing to share their experiences.
And in the past couple of months, we've been really working hard on trying to make a great user experience. However, in the future, I guess our vision is just to expand our user base. As the more data we have, the more we can offer to our consumers and Americans in general. So we just definitely got to work on our marketing, I guess. But our long-term view is just to make a more consolidated healthcare consumer experience. In the future, we really like to have users be actually able to book appointments, procedures on our website.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big picture for us in the future. But with what we have now, I guess we'll pass it on to Samba to show you how the app actually works.
For sure. So I can screen share and I can just walk you through how kind of our app works from a user's perspective. So 1 second. So this is our website. I don't know if you've been able to see it before, maybe in the video, but this is kind of the landing screen you get when you first come to a website. And once you're at the screen, you can kind of just scroll down to see some important information, such as, the problem we're trying to solve. We kind of have it highlighted over here. And below this, we kind of talk about what we do at Hospified and how we're trying to solve this issue. And from here, users can click on Explore, which takes them to this search page where they can search for specific medical procedures. And you notice that at the bottom of the screen, there's actually an area for recent submissions. So you can see like all of the recent submissions to our database, and it could kind of give you some help. You could even add a submission right from here using this plus icon. So just to give you a quick demo, I could search for a spinal fusion surgery, which I have, which was a recent submission as well. I can enter in my zip code. So, and I can enter in a radius I would like to search within. And then when I click search, I'm given this table of all the relevant results in my area. And what's great about this table is I can actually sort this by specific factors. So one of the factors is a rating on a scale of 1 to 5. So this could be thought of as like the number of stars you want to give a particular procedure you got. And I could actually sort this table by this. So I could have the top rating at the top of this table. And then from here, I could get important information such as the name of the procedure, the cost, the hospital it happened at, and even the rating, as I just said. And I can even click over here on the plus to get more information about this. So I can see the the town where this happened, the actual date of the procedure, and any additional comments a user had. And what's really great about this is at the bottom of this, we even give you a map. So you can click directly on this map, and that would take you to like a Google Maps web, the website where you could see specific direction information. And kind of the highlight of this page is really at the bottom over here. We have this graph that shows you the cost versus rating of different procedures. So this is, in essence, what we're trying to do with Hospified is bring transparency to these procedure costs. And users at the bottom of our screen can see an entire graph of exactly that. So they can see, how does the rating of a procedure, how does the quality of a procedure vary given its cost? And I think that's very important information for a user to have because they can click on any one of these to see more specific information. So in the future, as I think Rahul and Matt were saying, we plan on adding even more graphs so that users can see even more specific information about each of the procedures we're talking about. And so the last thing I'd like to show you kind of from our website is the contribute feature from where users can submit their own procedures. Now, just as a demo, I can submit another spinal fusion. And let's say it has a cost of $15,000. The insurance could have paid $7,000, and I could have paid the last $8,000. Hospital, I'll just put in this thing I copy pasted, Robert Wood Johnson. And I can put in my rating, let's say 4 stars. I can even put in my insurance provider, let's say Cigna, and the date this happened. So let's just say today. And all of these other factors are optional. So this includes like the age, the gender, any additional comments I have. So I could say, service looks amazing. And I could also put like a medical bill with any sensitive information blacked out. Yeah, did you have a question?
Yeah. Do you have an interest in knowing if you see any disparities in costs based on race and other sort of ethnicities? Is that one of your categories, or will it be one of your categories?
So I think that's actually like a great point. We don't have it right now because we thought, because our goal kind of with this was to kind of limit the amount of information we have. So maybe just taking like as little information, because I know security is sometimes a concern. But I think that's definitely something we could kind of look into, kind of see from our end how how like kind of your race or your gender, even kind of specific factors affect the quality you receive. I think that's definitely something we can look at in the future.
So how would someone find out about this? How would someone who's already had the experience willing to share the information so that you can start building up that wealth of information to share? And then how would someone who is facing the prospects of surgery know that there's this kind of service available for them to look up where the most positive experience has been with that surgery?
Sure, Matt or who, do you want to take that? I think.
Yeah, sure. So like I guess kind of goes down to our marketing and like how we like trying to like I guess market our website to everyone. And honestly, recently the biggest thing we've been looking at is just trying to use social media and trying to use like those kind of applications to show like, hey, this is a service that you can use, and that like each submission is just a one more step towards like a more fair and transparent healthcare system, and that like we want this to be used as an instrument, as a tool by American citizens to like just have them have a better and more fair experience with getting a procedure, getting an operation. So I think, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, just like in general, like the biggest thing we want to use is just like, I guess, take advantage of like the digital age that we live in through using social media and those kind of platforms.
So do you envision sharing the sort of the information, the trends, the differentials to policymakers?
Yeah, for sure. I guess like, because like the biggest thing is just transparency, and just I think when you see it, like it's much, if you can visualize it through like Google Maps, seeing disparities between like low income communities and high income communities and how that really affects the quality of healthcare they're getting, I think that's really beneficial for policymakers to see how like there's a very visual and real difference and unfairness that comes with the system.
And it's also of interest to policymakers to see any broad differential in the costs associated with the same kind of surgery, so that they can drill down better and say, why is that the case here and not 15 miles away at Princeton, but it's happening in New Brunswick, or vice versa, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. During our research, we noticed that even hospitals that are very close to each other, they can have very like drastic differences in price. So I think that's a very good point. We could definitely kind of learn a lot from that information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So you kind of answered a question that I had about where we go next on this. How do you see expanding it, and how many people do you have? How many submissions do you have on it now, and users, and how many do you have in contributors? If you don't mind.
Sure. I don't know the exact number, but we have, I think, somewhere around 100 to 200. I mean, this is it's kind of small right now. We've just shared it to like relatives and stuff, but yeah, that's kind of what we have so far.
And
this is brilliant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Kind of outside of that, like Matthew was saying before, we're trying to find like a steady number of contributors and users. And like one of the things that we've done in the past couple of months is we've expanded our team to like help aid us with the marketing process and growth process. Like one of the things that Matthew mentioned in the beginning was that we want to partner with local doctors' offices, and one thing we're targeting right now is a pediatrics office in order to partner with them so they can refer Hospify to their patients and see how the office can incorporate Hospify into their into the facility, see how we can grow our user base through that as well.
But that might not work if the doctor is responsible for charging more than his or her colleague at another hospital. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's obviously like not the best kind of product for like hospitals, because obviously they've been able to benefit from this lack of transparency. But I think the biggest part.
But so had the doctors.
Exactly, yeah. So the doctors, but I don't know, maybe it's a bit idealistic of me, but to think that like I guess like some doctors really are like just trying to get like the best service possible, and we're trying to just find kind of doctors who are there just to like give as cheap treatment as possible to like people who need it.
Yeah. You know, and the health centers, the community health centers might be of help to you in identifying people who'd be willing to give up information so that you could plug into your system as well. Yeah, that's brilliant. How did you all get involved, interested in, policy, and then come up with such a brilliant idea? First of all, are any of your parents doctors?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for me, I mean, for me, I talked about it a little bit in the questions that we submitted, but healthcare has always been like an important subject in my family. Like we've had our struggles with like healthcare bills in the past. My brother was like in and out of the hospital when he was like very, very young. And, so my family knows about like the healthcare system in this nation, and like how bad it is for a lot of families. So I think that was like when we came together and came up with this idea. That was like one of the driving forces behind it for me, at least. That this is something that's gonna help other families that were in similar situations. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
That's how a lot of us learn what issues are important to us and what areas, what space we want to work in on those issues, coming out of our personal observations or observations of other folks going through things. So that's very touching. And let me just tell you that the quote that you cited in the beginning is not a cheesy quote. It really speaks to the our core value that this country should acknowledge, embrace, and all of us lawmakers ought to be working to make sure that everybody has access to healthcare, everybody has high quality healthcare, and that no one should have to be bankrupt to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess for me, my story. Oh, I think my internet's breaking up. I'm so sorry. I think my internet's breaking up. But I guess for me, my story with it is I guess my family's a very like public policy kind of oriented family. Like we would have like sometimes like on the dinner table just talk about issues. And my sister like she like wants to work with a think tank. So like these are just the type of conversations that just come up like I guess like on the dinner table or like when we're watching TV. I remember just like one day me and my sister were just talking about the issue. And like for me, it was just like so crazy that like we can be such a powerful country that like, that does so much that, I personally think is the best country in the world, right? And we still have like this crazy like healthcare problem that like doesn't occur in many other, like in every other single first world nation. And that's kind of what motivates like just kind of tackle it, I guess, through this like our small project, I guess.
Wow. That's where I kind of formulated my sort of core values about important issues was around the dinner table. We were always discussing policy and politics and inequality and responsibility. So, I share that with you.
Yeah, and I think just kind of as a last one, for me, I think it was very similar to Rahul. I know my family, we've often had like medical procedures, and a lot of my family is actually kind of in India. And it's kind of very interesting to see how like even in kind of this developing nation, a lot of the medical procedures, a lot of the medical costs, and even like cost of medicine, it's actually much less than in the US. And that was very surprising to see that like my family over there would tell me how like there's a lot of actually like people from other countries going into India for its cheaper medical procedures, which are which you wouldn't really expect from a developing country. And I think kind of seeing that disparity between such a developed nation, which still doesn't have a functioning, very functioning medical system, with that of a developing nation, I think it was very interesting to see.
How did the three of you find each other? Were you friends before this?
Yeah, so we all did like Model UN together. So we just like kind of like I guess became friends through that in high school.
Yeah. Wow. So Samba, you're a senior, right?
Yep.
What's going to happen for you next year?
I'm not sure. So I actually got into Georgia Tech early. So I'm kind of thinking of that, but I'm just waiting on my regular decisions to kind of confirm.
Okay. Best wishes to you. Matt and Raul, you got one more year, right? To think about that important decision. Hey, you guys took a cut at something that's really important to us, the whole issue of access to healthcare, affordability, and accessibility, as well as the whole discussion as you kind of raised peripherally regarding just the cost of access to medication. It's like something that's on our radar right now, and this is pretty cool. I thank you. It excites me, and I'm very proud of you, and I'm very proud that you live and go to school in my district. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for sharing, and congratulations. I'm sure that lots of people saw a lot of value in this application. I wish you the very best with it, and just keep taking it wherever you think that the trends are leading you or the needs are leading you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
so
anytime
much.
you want to try something out on us, just let us know, because we're eager to learn, and we're also eager to understand something like this, because what you are doing will help us collect data as we talk about the costs of healthcare and how we roll out, hopefully one day, a Medicare for all, and what is a fair remuneration for the service that you're getting under medical service that you're getting. That kind of information that you're gathering will be helpful in the future. So please don't let it go.
We'll make sure to keep at it.
Great, thank you. Did a great job there, Laura. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to Team Hospified. They made it easy.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything but showcase it. They had the best idea.
I'm sorry you couldn't do it down and in the Rayburn building and over there in the Capitol. Maybe one day you'll be able to show it to them when you're, on the stock exchange or something with it. They'll be very interested in knowing it then.
Yeah, but
So
if you do ever make it to DC, be sure to stop by the office. We'll give you a tour, at least show you the room where it would have happened. And some of the
Right.
other stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with me. So my understanding is that I know I peppered you with questions. You all might have a few for me.
Yeah. All right, Matthew.
Have at it.
I guess I'll just start with like a kind of like not so serious question, but me and Rahul are pretty big basketball fans, so is Samvit, and we're just wondering what your March Madness bracket kind of looks like.
I don't have one. I don't have one at all. I'm sorry. When I was younger, I used to really follow basketball. I loved it. That was my favorite sport. And if I'm ever watching sports with my family, that's the one that I'll sit there and just watch. I enjoy the athleticism of it and the pace of it. I don't have a favorite team or anything like that. I don't have a favorite college in it. I just like to watch it from time to time. But to be perfectly honest with you, I don't even know who's in March Madness right now.
I mean, you definitely have like more impressing issues
Yeah.
than like
the
the March Madness bracket. So I won't hold it against you.
Well, my go-to after I do my briefings for the night, and after I've gotten my fill of MSNBC, it's all channel. That'll tell you a lot about me. My husband will come downstairs and got all my channels on again. It's like, that's kind of my escape. So
That sounds super cool. I guess now we'll go into a little bit more of a serious question. This is like being policy nerds that we are. We just wanted to know, like what legislation is currently on the House or that you're currently working on to battle healthcare injustices in our country.
well, I support Medicare for all, first of all, but I also support anything that opens up the ACA and makes it easier for people and more affordable for people to ensure that they have health care. And so you'll probably find me as a co-signer of every letter that opens up opportunities for healthcare or speaks to a problem that is a barrier to it. And any piece of legislation that we have going, that we have moved, I hope that I was influential in raising my voice in the last rescue bill to make sure that there were these extensions available and that there was an expansion of, I don't want to say stipends, but I can't think of the word, supplements to be able to afford healthcare. I recognize that New Jersey is considered, in my district in particular, is considered the medicine cabinet because we have so many health sciences and other pharmaceutical companies here. And I recognize the value of having them for lots of reasons. One is wonderful discoveries come out of these companies that end up saving lives all over the world. And from an economy perspective, they're very good for the economy of New Jersey. Having said that, so I'm very supportive of what they need to be able to be creative and innovative and bring life-saving devices and medicines to the marketplace. I'm also concerned that we're getting the bang for our buck that we're supposed to get. And so I have that balance where I want very much to talk about and weigh in on the discussion of why drugs cost more here than they do in Canada or some other country. Why is the same drug, what's different there than we have here? At the same time, recognizing that many of the countries are the beneficiaries of the R&D that was paid for and paid up on here. So that is a very important issue for me from the healthcare perspective. I'm very interested in anything that advances equality and equity and eliminates and crashes down barriers and disparities. And so there are things that may not be direct healthcare, but impact healthcare and whether or not someone has access to it. So I work in that space of equal opportunity and equity and eliminating disparities in anything from housing to education to employment to social justice, law enforcement, all of those things to me weigh in. Another area that directly speaks to my interest in healthcare has to do with the disparities in infant and maternal mortality and morbidity, and trying to figure out why are there these disparities, even if the socioeconomic status of the two women, one Black, one white, is not different, but the outcome is different. And so that's a pretty hefty area for us that we're looking at right now. I'm glad to be on the Appropriations Committee of Labor, Health, and Human Services, because we look at those kinds of issues a lot.
Yeah, I guess kind of hopping off of that a little bit with the little bit of time we have is that like I guess like a big part of the coronavirus pandemic has been like inequality and how like inequality has gotten worse during the pandemic. You see the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and it applied in healthcare, like in a monetary sense, where like quite literally they're getting richer, like the stock market, for example, right? But like poorer neighborhoods are doing worse. A lot of people are losing jobs. People who can't work like virtually, right? They're being exposed to the virus, and even like vaccinations, right? You see how a lot of people are like the super rich are like going to the United Arab Emirates to get like their vaccinations to like kind of jump in line. I guess on the horizon was like the next biggest legislation to kind of combat this like inequality that we're seeing during the pandemic.
Well, first of all, I think that there's going to be a need for another sort of relief bill or rescue bill. I think you're absolutely right about rich folks getting very rich during this period of time. And those people who had essential jobs on the front line were typically brown and Black and poorly paid. And so we tried to address some of that in the COVID bills. But I am a person that believes that eliminating poverty means putting more resources in the hands of family with less strings attached to how they spend it. And so I support things like a universal basic income, because I believe that there should be a floor beneath which no family should find themselves. And I believe in guaranteed job programs and money in education and retooling of education for people who have been unemployed and underemployed. And it hurt me that when Republicans wanted to give millions and millions of dollars in tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. They did it like that. But when it came time to giving support on so many different levels, from extended unemployment benefits to access to healthcare to they're not stimulus checks, they're rescue checks and things of that nature to help people to stay in their homes, forbearance on foreclosures and things of that nature. We had to fight so hard. And so it seems like it's never too much for the very, very wealthy. And from their perspective, it's never too little for those in greatest need. So I expect that we will have more dignity and respect for those in those categories that need our attention, need those barriers eliminated, and need those resources applied. And that's what I'm going to fight for.
That sounds amazing. I mean, do we have time for one more question?
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Actually, I just had a quick question. So I was wondering, we're all high schoolers who kind of came together to tackle this issue. Do you have like a message you want to give to high schoolers or even, younger kids? Or is there anything that, we could do like as high schoolers to sort of tackle these issues?
So I think that the reason that we're having some of the discussions that we're having about elimination of racism and disparities and sexism and discrimination against the LGBTQ community, transgenders, and all that kind of stuff. I think that all this whole equality or equity issue is, and gun safety, a lot of it has to do with your activism. After the school shootings in particular, when students across this nation came up and came together in Washington and other places and spoke so eloquently about their vision for this country, their determination for this country, and their insistence. So what I would say to you all in high school is that you have a voice and that we listen to that voice. And that voice was manifested in a very eloquent, smart, decisive way over the last 2 years in particular. And that never think that what you think and what you expect and what you want doesn't matter. It does matter. It matters to those of us who are motivated out of trying to do the right stuff. And it's important to those who know that you'll be talking to your parents and you will also be a voter. So there's accountability in that also. Standing up is very important. All we're seeing now is this these last couple of weeks where there's been hate of the Asian community. You see it, you stand up, you speak out to it. You see the hate when it comes to Black Lives Matter, or you see it when it comes to religious discrimination, national origin, whatever the ism is that hate is manifested in, you with your allies speak out. So people have to understand what is not acceptable in this country and what you all, the visionaries and the leaders for our next generation, are expecting and will hold us to, and will take your rightful place in our stead in a very short period of time. So your voice is very valuable, as is this application that you advanced here, which is extremely impressive. But who did you have a question you asked? Because you asked if I had one more question. It was
similar to Sama's question.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna kind of ask like how can students get involved on the
write us. Well, email us, text us, call us out on social media platforms, invite us when you have groups that are interested in having discussions around certain areas. This sort of virtual stuff has been good in the sense that we've had a chance to easily connect to people. We didn't have to assemble them. They could do it from their own homes, their own perches, and we could have conversations around things of interest and of concern. So that's how you can be impactful. And since you all are so motivated out of such common good, I hope that you are involved and continue to stay involved and encourage your friends to do the same, because you all make a difference. And I'm proud to have met you.